I want you to imagine back to when you first learned how to drive. Were you in the passenger seat while your mum, dad, sister or brother was in the driver's seat explaining what you should be doing? No, of course not. You were the one in the driver's seat because we know the way to get better at something is practice. Walking therapies after stroke can encourage patients to become passengers, when really we should be teaching them to be drivers. In my research, it's all about getting people to walk again after stroke. We learn through a process called neuroplasticity, and this describes the changes that occur in the brain when we learn. Key to this is what we practice must be similar to the task we want to acquire. We don't learn how to drive a car by riding a bike. Otherwise, we could all have our licenses when our training wheels come off. Specificity to task is key. Stroke though, it destroys part of the brain. And the only way we can regain lost skills is to teach them to some of the remaining areas. And this is really important because your recovery depends on which areas are taught. In some areas, they're more important than others. Walking therapies after stroke, they have problems teaching the brain. And we can't tell you if and how you're going to recover, largely because we can't control the areas of the brain that are being taught. Most patients though, they receive some sort of rehabilitation. This usually involves physiotherapy or assisted walking. However, in these therapies, patients tend to become passengers. This is labour intensive on therapists and that limits session time. Typically, around 15 minutes. Now, how long were your driving lessons when you first learned how to drive? Probably a lot longer than that. Robots were introduced to try and remove this burden from therapists and increase session time. However, the problem remains the same. In these devices, patients tend to become passengers, and they don't appear to be working any better. The problem, and my research, is how these robots are controlled. The controllers used are like, or in fact are, joysticks that have nothing to do with walking. And because the controller has nothing to do with walking, we can't teach patients how to walk properly. And we can't control those important areas of the brain that are being taught. The controller I'm developing puts patients back in the driver's seat of their rehabilitation. This controller forces patients to engage in their therapy, where every single step they take requires an action that's directly related to walking. What's more, this controller, it targets a specific area of the brain, and this area of the brain is more capable of learning how to walk than other areas. And this is going to remove the hit and miss approach that occurs with other therapies. Once the controller's done its job, so is the robot, and so have I. You won't need either anymore, and it'll be just like that first time driving on your own, and you'll be in control. Thank you.